Welcome to Public Comment. I'm John Dunbar, former mayor of Yountville.
And I'm Alfredo Pedroza, a farmer.
Thank you for joining us as we talk about politics, people, and whatever else is on our mind.
We agreed to tax ourselves to the tune of $20 million per year. Now do it.
You have to make decisions that are better than just what you want to do personally.
It's not just for tourists, John. It's for people like us, too.
These two government agencies are actually getting off their asses and doing something. Okay, folks, we're going to do something a little different this episode. We're doing something I just made it up, 3 for 10. We're going to talk about 3 different topics for no more than 10 minutes apiece. And we haven't figured out exactly what we're doing yet, but we're going to do it in 3 10-minute segments.
Good luck.
You ready?
Sure.
Okay, go.
I just love how structured you're trying to say that. But look, I think one of the first topics, Harvest Middle School. You know, I've been probably more critical of the city council than you, especially Napa. And I think they're doing something good. Look, they're surplusing Harvest Middle School, which is a massive property, right? Former middle school. It is devastating. They're closing a school, but
it's been closed for years.
Yeah, but they're actually making it available, right? The school district is, or the city of Napa might buy it to do something good for the community. And that gives me hope.
Well, I like how you're saying they're making it available. For $25 million, they're making it available. But still, that's, again, Napa City Council said they're going to use the Measure G money to support community benefits. And this is one of them, to buy Harvest Middle School, even at that enormous price.
But the school district's going to tell you, John, they're trying to maximize every dollar to reinvest back in the kids. That's a standard line, right?
Don't get me started on that. Well, that'll be another podcast. We only have 10 minutes. But I will give credit where we're seeing the results of the revenues that are coming in the city of Napa. We're seeing more street repaving and repair than they probably have ever done. Yes, it's a little bit of a hassle.
Kit Miller's. She deserves all the credit.
She's very excited about that, even though it's in the city.
Doesn't matter.
And that's right. You're right. She's part of the whole transportation network.
Yes.
So it's great to see that. It's also a great potential site in the city of Napa for the sports complex that we've been talking with guests about, and you and I have been talking about, to give youth activities a big, big bump.
Look, I think, first of all, folks don't understand when government sells property, it's a very prescribed process through the Surplus Lands Act, right? So the school district made a decision to sell it. They're going to say they have to sell it to the highest and best value and put a value on it. Affordable housing developers and city and governments have an opportunity to buy before the market buys, right? So that's what happened here. So look, setting whatever we feel about the value, I think I just commend the city council for taking advantage of the opportunity to create magic down there, right? And before we get into the tokenism, because it's a huge Latino community, yes, but do the right thing, right? Like, this is an incredible opportunity to have a blank slate. You have a pool there, you have sports, you have fields there already. You have an impeccable, I think, kind of recreational center already with a gym that was very nicely done. You have a nice park. The bones are there to do something magical, but now it's time for government to actually dream big and do it. No, don't get caught up in just dreaming, because that can take years. And government's good at processing things to death. Like, take action, bold leadership. You have the money because we agreed to tax ourselves to the tune of $20 million per year. Now do it.
Yeah, and the town of Yountville has done something similar. I think they grossly overpaid the school district for the...
They haven't done anything. It's been sitting... What have they done?
They have been doing a lot of community meetings to decide what they want to do with what used to be the elementary school site.
How long? When did they sell it? How many years?
It was early 2020 when they sold it. So, when they closed the school. They just sold it last year. So they're moving forward. How they're going to generate the revenue is very different than the city of Napa is doing it with partially, at least, their sales tax increase. I'm not going to get into how the Yountville Town Council and leadership have decided how they're going to fund it, but they are talking with the community about what do you want on this 6.8 acre parcel, and that's going to be something different than what Napa residents want for the Harvest Middle School. But at least these two government agencies are actually getting off their asses and doing something.
Ooh. John.
That was more targeted at Yountville than the city of Napa.
I could tell. But look, I agree with you, but I am concerned that we will hide behind the collective we hide behind a process, because you have some wonderful neighbors out there, we don't need to name names, that have an opinion, and that they're going to say, well, my opinion matters just as much. It does. But guess what? It may not be the only one. And you have to take action. And I think that's where the public has expectations that people take action. You mentioned Yountville has been sitting on this property for how long?
Well, they closed the property in late 2019, 2020, early 2020.
No, but how long? They bought it since when?
It was a year and a half ago or so.
Okay. So can most Napa residents buy something and just sit on it for a year and a half? No, because they're going to have to pay a mortgage. They're going to have to pay property taxes. But yet government just seems like we can just sit on it. It's not going to cost anyone money. It will cost people money, John. We're paying for it through taxes. So I think there needs to be the same motive, right? To move quickly and create a community benefit that is inclusive, but at the same time is not paralyzed by wanting to hear from every corner of the community. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not transparent. It just means that it's leadership.
Well, that's where strong leadership is needed, because if you're asking 100 people, you're going to get 200 different ideas.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to disappoint some people for the greater community benefit. And that's hard when you know the people that you're sitting in a council meeting or, whatever public meeting, and you see those people at school drop off or at the local market. You have to make decisions that are better than just what you want to do personally.
Well, I agree with you, and then I disagree with you, because I had no issue telling people when I was in line at Pete's Coffee there, you didn't listen to me. I said, no, I did listen to you. I just didn't agree with you. But that's okay. It's not disrespectful. It's just, we were elected to lead. You lead based off what you have. And this community is thirsty for community benefits that we can see and feel and experience. That's what they want. So in the city of Napa, I commend you. You're going to buy the property, I think, or you haven't bought it yet. Do it and have a quick, expedited process that leads to an outcome that this community can feel and experience.
And maybe we can stop hearing people say there's nothing here for locals.
Agree.
Because that will be almost purely for locals.
Beautiful.
And for kids and for families, and it'll be multi-purpose, and that's even better. It makes it worthwhile, the investment.
All right, next topic. We're ahead of schedule, John.
Wait a minute. We got 3 minutes left on our
Beautiful.
10 minutes.
All right, so the next topic should be, I think you're talking
about
locals.
Are you returning your time to the chair?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're starting to do 10. Here we go.
You can't do math?
No, I got to delete. All right.
Oh, Lord.
Let's keep the theme of the city of Napa going. And since we're sitting right across the street from probably the largest redevelopment project in the history of the city of Napa, other than the development of the city of Napa itself, is the project down here on First Street.
What is that going to cost? Do you know?
I understand that it's somewhere around $200 million. And it's pretty amazing the investment that's being made by the 3G partner group to invest in downtown Napa.
Yeah, look, I got to talk to him, the principal, directly, and very nice man. And it's one of those things I was like, they're investing what? In this time when, people talk about interest rates, inflation, unemployment rate, and you have someone investing that type of money in our beautiful Napa. And sometimes I think we just gloss over that, John, and, you and I were kind of layered as business people when we were in office, but how many communities would relish this, right? And this is magical. Like, this is happening in our downtown. It's going to create jobs. It's going to create revenue. And I do want to talk about the jobs, because people say, well, it's creating low paying jobs. These are good jobs.
Yeah,
these are
construction jobs, but also the jobs that will be in place in the hotel, restaurant, condominiums, where you have maintenance workers. You have a lot of those jobs are skilled jobs.
HR, IT, facilities, right? These are critical jobs, and that's happening here. So again, I do want to thank, these, and I feel like we're just on the city of Napa rant right now. But, Scott Sedgley was someone that I heard was behind this project, and I might have mentioned it earlier, supportive. We should give credit. I think when people do that, when they say, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to move forward, let's go. And we should celebrate that, because right now, I have not seen dirt move as quick as that.
Well, think about right across the street, First and Main. There's been a fence up there where the old
some of my
Tuscany
friends own that. Easy.
How many years has that been vacant?
Agree. Let's stick to the positivity, my friend.
What I'm saying is, the positive is immediately after taking ownership of that site for this new development, they got to work. And people were like, oh, we don't want to see another abandoned project for years. Well, you're not.
And again, I have an office here. You know how many times I've complained? 0. Can I hear the noise? Yes. Can I hear the jackhammer? Yes. Can I maybe
Is your
taste
parking limited?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I taste the dust sometimes? Yes. But guess what? I'm happy. Not just because it's going to increase the value of the building, but because you're seeing vibrancy in downtown Napa. And I have yet to hear these downtown businesses complain. So to me, yes, we're dealing with a little bit of traffic, but the outcome is going to be an incredible building that the city gets revenue from. They get to reinvest in our community. It's going to create jobs. And guess what? It's something that you and I can experience as well. Because of all this building stuff that's happening, it's not just for tourists, John. It's for people like us too.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about that.
If people were listening during the presentation, so the developers worked with the city for 6 years.
Too long.
And it was almost twice as long since they started their work on the concepts that they're now making reality.
Beautiful.
But it's
we're on a roll, John.
Their plan is to have this thing be relevant for 100 years. And it is evolving downtown Napa. I know some people freak out about change, but frankly, if your city and your community isn't changing and moving forward, it's dying.
Beautiful.
And so this is going to revitalize downtown. I think the First Street shopping center revitalized downtown. You started to see a lot more locally owned businesses pop up on 1st, 2nd, 3rd Street, Main Street, and even other neighborhoods. And that's already had a positive, energetic impact on downtown.
I think the only thing I'm bummed about is, I like Levi's. I wear Levi's jeans. When Levi's outlet didn't have them, I'd come to Kohl's. So I am a little bummed. So I had to shop online the other day, John, for my jeans. But I'm feeling so much goodness
you
coming.
Want positivity.
Let's move on.
You're about a 1.5 minute walk, when you walk slowly, of Williamson and Company men's clothing that you can go support.
They're good people. They're good
local.
people. Okay. We're ahead of schedule. So let's just keep going.
We got to get better on these 10 minutes.
What's the next one?
All right. The next one.
Don't worry about the other topics. They'll come to me.
I think,
Visit Napa Valley?
We've pushed for a while getting to more detail about what's happening in the wine industry and what's happening in the destination travel space. So yes, recently Visit Napa Valley had its contract renewed. Well, they had their contract renewed for 10 more years of being our destination travel partner. But now
I heard that was super smooth, by the way.
Yeah, it only took a year to get the 10-year.
Okay.
But anyway, again, being positive, we're seeing really, really positive things coming from what Visit Napa Valley is able to do now, focusing on very local Napa Valley things, but also partnering with things like next year's Super Bowl in Santa Clara and the FIFA World Cup that's coming to the U.S., including parts of Northern California. They are already doing that legwork to work with the Bay Area sports organization that is hosting a lot of these different activities. It's going to be a big value for Napa Valley.
Like I thought it was great. There was a bunch of people in there that sometimes I went to the symposium. I got to see it. There's a couple of people in there that sometimes criticize, the tourism, but yet they were there. So, that was interesting to see. But the whole point that I saw is it's a recognition of tourism's here. And tourism is an incredible part of this community, right? And maybe they've been criticized a little bit more, but it's because they're a machine. And they're a good machine. They're a successful machine. They're a machine that creates so much goodness for our community, revenue, jobs, you name it, right? So I really like the data. I like the data in terms of what they were saying about the younger demographic of who's coming to Napa. I thought that was unique and how intentional they are. You're right. They're using the FIFA World Cup. They're using they're using all these things, right, to bring more people to Napa. But I also think it's creating some good things. The Napa Valley Car Club, some of my friends are in it. And, they had an event. I couldn't go because we had soccer with kids. But to see people that are into cars that are coming to Napa because of the cars, and then they're seeing our wine, or it's bringing, folks that live in that style and they're buying great wine. We're benefiting. We're transacting off what Visit Napa Valley has done by enhancing the brand, by enhancing the brand in Napa Valley. We're seeing it, right? PGA tournament, right? Like, you saw what that did to Napa, the imagery of this beautiful valley. Not that the PGA wouldn't come if it wasn't for what Visit Napa Valley has done, but I can tell you they absolutely have benefited because what they've done in the marketplace to create this image and brand of Napa, there's a reason PGA's here.
Absolutely.
Right?
And not only were they getting great coverage of the beauty of the Napa Valley during the Procore Championship just a few weeks ago, but the Ryder Cup just happened. And during that coverage, which is international coverage, there were references to these players having just been in Napa. And so that you can't get that kind of publicity for free anywhere. And so having the ability to host an event like that,
Beautiful.
just like when Bottle Rock made the Napa Valley a music destination. And now it's not just about the weekends in May and early June for La Onda and Bottle Rock. You're seeing so many more live music events that are all over the valley, up valley, down valley, and in the middle. So it's now a live music destination also. And we're going to continue to see, we recently were talking to Eric Housley about 1839 FC, bringing a different sports entertainment concept here to Napa Valley. So it's just making us more diverse and more just kind of adding benefits to our community.
Look, I just think we are incredibly privileged to have a community in the Valley that people want to come and visit and that we're sharing with, right? And it's not a question of like, well, do we need it? We absolutely do need it. Now, we need to do it responsibly, and I think they're doing it. So I'm glad they got the contract renewed. But thank you to all the team at Visit Napa Valley for the job. So let's keep going because we're on a roll, John.
Well, we're going to have to make this 3 for 5, not 3 for 10 going on because
no one's surprised. John.
You got the next topic. Go for it. What do you got?
The industry. We saw there was a presentation at the board with the Joint Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, and I'm sure you took copious notes around this presentation.
Yeah, Napa Valley Vintners presented something they had already presented earlier this year to a smaller group of not only electeds, but county staff and other stakeholders like chambers of commerce and folks like that. And they talked about the state of the wine industry, specifically
Did you learn
Napa
something?
Valley.
Did you learn something new?
I knew a lot about it already.
So
but
you didn't learn anything.
What I did learn is while there are some challenges, it's not all nearly the doom and gloom that some writers are trying to make it sound like. You can skew stats all you want, but the fact is, yes, it's challenging for the wine industry right now to sell wine for grape growers like yourselves, farmers, to sell their product. There may need to be a market course correction with the capacity, the surplus inventory of grapes, but it doesn't mean the wine industry is going away in Napa Valley. It is still a magical place to grow grapes and make fine wine. But there are also challenges that the industry is facing that all of the industry groups, meaning Napa Valley Vintners, Napa Valley grape growers, wine growers of Napa County Farm Bureau, and other stakeholders, including Visit Napa Valley, are working together to share the concerns and challenges with the county and with the leadership and say, these are things that we would recommend you do to help support our success.
Got it. And I'll push back on that because we've been hearing about that, John, for a long time. And if you're going to convene the Board of Supervisors and the Planning Commission, it shouldn't be an information session. It should be a session with information shared and next steps and tangible outcomes, right? Because I do agree with you, though. This is not doom and gloom, right? Napa's going to be okay, but it takes intentional purpose. It takes a commitment from the electorate and from this community to say, this is what we want to be. And we said we're going to be ag, right? It's in the mission. It's what people are investing in. But it comes a time when people have to get a little uncomfortable, right? And I appreciate what your groups, some of the groups are doing, but, it's not rocket science. Businesses need a little more flexibility, right? They need to be able to make changes to the permit without spending God loads of money and endless time, right? And here you have industry groups going before the board, and you're not advocating for that when your members are feeling the pressure, the economic pressure of meeting payroll, paying for grapes. So to me, I've heard the county leadership say, tell us what you need. Speak in one voice. Has the industry done that? And I'm saying all industry, John. I'm not criticizing one group. Have they done that? Yes or no question. They've asked the county of Napa what they need.
The industry groups have finally coordinated a message. Has it been presented yet? No.
Okay.
So I would say the industry groups have done something that they haven't done before.
Okay.
And now they have to move forward with it. And the county has to be receptive, because if they think having just the information only presentation from one industry group, it satisfies their obligation, they're wrong.
No, and look, I don't want to make light of what you said, that the groups have come a long way from what historically has not been things that they've been able to do, which is
everybody was siloed for a long time.
Okay. So they've done that. So let's acknowledge that. And I won't be as harsh on that. So I will give credit. But the hardest part, John, is like, okay, then make my life better as a vintner, right? So like, what are you going to do? And these vintners, John, they're not asking for visitation to the moon, unchecked stuff. They're asking for reasonable stuff. So let's have the conversation, but let's hold the elected officials accountable. They may have good reasons why they don't want to do it, then put them on the table. But right now, everyone's talking behind the curtain. Nothing's happening. So let's do it.
As we sit here talking about this, there's legislation that's on Governor Newsom's desk in Sacramento.
What is it?
That would change some of that. Assembly Bill 720 by Chris Rogers, who's an assembly member in Santa Rosa, so our neighbor Sonoma County.
I might like Sonoma.
I know you would support this. His legislation, which is supported bipartisan in the Capitol, would allow wineries that have a state-issued O2 alcohol license to expand their tasting opportunities to other areas of their property than that are historically very limited by local regulations. That's going to allow them to do a lot more marketing and provide the experiences that we're seeing happen all over the state, but they're not allowed in Napa County. So there may be some change right on the horizon.
I love it. I want to go back to tourism, John, because I think we were so eager, we jumped over some
We
stuff.
had time left.
Yeah. But, one of the things that I learned in talking to people being on the road and directly related to tourism, you and I talked about it, right? This need that we're not very family centric. And Napa sometimes have these experiences that are not geared towards families. And I can tell you, when Brenda and I travel, we look at places that have kids clubs and so forth. So that idea came to me. So I reached out to some hotel owners here in Napa and said, you know what? That's a great idea. We're going to do it. Like, that's Napa. Like, you have a hotel owner that's saying, I'm going to do something about that. Like, that doesn't happen everywhere. So to me, that's what sometimes gets me going, is you have owners that are willing to listen and try things.
Well, I think going back to when we were just talking about this downtown development here in Napa, seeing that not only the financial investment, but the investment in making downtown more vibrant and more relevant to today, I hope that inspires other business owners either to maybe freshen up their storefront, or maybe somebody is looking to retire and we can bring in somebody new to provide a new opportunity. When people retire, sometimes locals get they got chased out. Sometimes they just want to retire because they've worked hard for a long time.
What's your clock going?
I think,
are we done? Was that 30 minutes?
That means time's up, pal.
Wow. All right. I'll close out. You just celebrated an anniversary recently. I was notified.
Time's up.
No. I just want to say happy anniversary to Jerry.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, John, we just finished, this lightning round. I felt like it was speed dating for us. We talked about all these topics. How'd you feel?
I did like it too. It's a fresh approach to talking a little bit more about some of the things we've already covered, but also teasing a little bit more about what might be coming up in future episodes.
I thought it was great. You had this plan and we kind of stuck to it. So we were not disciplined at all. But I think people are going to love it, right? Because it was about, the lightning round. So many topics that we've talked about that were new, but I enjoyed that, right?
Yeah, and I know that you love to tease me about my structure. So I have to just release some of that, and I'll work on it going forward.
Cheers.
Cheers.